guys, this is a video about how you can fail for a roundabout for stalling inside it. It is a very common reason why people fail their tests, and it's normally because of second gear. So if you come up to a roundabout and you're a bit nervous about the roundabout and you're a bit unsure about how the blockers work and when to go and everything, if that still is quite worrying for you, then the likelihood of you forgetting to put it into the correct gear is even higher than usual. Now, what can happen is if a nervous student comes up to a roundabout and they're like, oh God, I don't know when to go, what they tend to do is they put all their focus into the roundabout, which isn't a bad thing, it's fine, but they forget about their gears. So what they do is maybe they come up and they stop and they're in second gear, for example, and then they look at the roundabout and they're trying to work it out, right? At this stage, they leave it in second, perhaps, which is the most dodgy gear to leave it in. And the reason why is because when they do find a gap, the second gear is cruel. It's really cruel because you think that you're okay. Second gear will let you get into the roundabout a significant amount, and then it stalls, and then you're literally in the roundabout and you stall. Now, this is very likely to make you fail if there's people on the right, but it depends on how quickly you can like get it back alive, right? So if you've got a car that starts again when you put the clutch down, start the car immediately, but check your gear. Yeah, it's no good putting the clutch down and making the car come back to life, or putting the clutch down and turn the key and make it come back to life if you're going to use the same wrong gear again. So you need to get into the habit of going clutch down, check your gear, and if it's not in first, get it into first and then drive on. If you are lucky enough to be able to save it inside the roundabout and drive on, you might get away with it, but it depends on how busy it is on the right. If anybody is affected on the right, you're done for. If you stall twice because you didn't check your gear, you're holding up the people behind you if they're there, and you'll fail for that even if there's no one on the right, okay? So you're going to go into the roundabout, and if you stall and then you go, oh God, I need to save it, clutch down, or you start the car again with the key, and then if you don't check your gear and you go forward and then stall again, the person behind is now caught in the danger zone as well. Yeah, and that's when you're going to either fail for people on the right or people behind you. Check your gear. Second gear is extremely cruel. If you come up to a roundabout and you've left it in fourth or third, the likelihood of you being able to move away from a stopped position if you've forgotten to take it into first gear is much lower. So if you're in gears like any higher than second, you might just stall on the spot, which isn't too bad because you haven't actually entered the roundabout yet. But if you're in second, it's cruel, I'm afraid. It will let you get in and you'll think that everything's all right, and then it's not, and then you stall. So you have got precious moments of being able to fix the car quickly, as in get it alive as soon as physically possible. And this can be any junction. If you come out of a T-junction in the same way, right, it's the same thing. You might be able to get away with it if you can get the car started. So if you're not very good at coming out of a stall, you need to really talk to your driving instructor and figure out how you come out of a stall. Get it into your head, ask loads of questions like, what do I do if I stall? And make sure that you know how to do it, yeah? Stalling is probably going to come up on your lesson enough for you to practice, right? But get the information by talking. Your driving instructor is unlikely to allow you to stall the car repeatedly because it's not going to be very good for the car, but it's going to happen anyway, right? Which is fine, by the way. But if you say, can I stall a lot today? Your instructor is probably going to say no, because it's not going to be particularly healthy if every single student said that they can do that. But listen to the advice of your driving instructor. If their car starts when you put the clutch down, brilliant, it will come back to life, but check your gear because it's only going to make it come back to life. If you're in the wrong gear and you try and pull away again, you're going to stall again, yeah? First gear really is the only gear that can start from zero successfully all the time, because it's the one that is the strongest. I call it the elephant gear. It's very strong, but it's very slow. You can be successful for pulling off in the other gears, but it's more fluky, yeah? First gear is the gear that's designed to start from zero and go off. If you're going down a hill, perhaps, then you could start in second. If you're living on a hill, then yeah, okay, fine, don't start with first. What's the point? Like, the hill's going to get you moving, so that's called a downhill start. But the likelihood of you needing to show that off on your learner test, no, I don't think you're going to, unless, I don't know where you learn to drive. If there's a huge hill, maybe, I don't know, talk to your personal driving instructor about where you are learning how to drive. A downhill start can be started in second. Yeah, you prepare in second. The hill is your, but in where I work, we do not need to, there's no hill that I can think of that I've ever needed to teach that. If you stop, the car needs to go down into first gear for the most successful pull away that you can possibly have. All right. So in a nutshell, if you stall, check your gear. Really important. The other time that this can come up is when people pull up on a big hill, as in the hill start, the uphill start. This happens to students a lot there as well. So I released a video about this recently, but when you pull up on the left, I strongly advise that you reset the car. If you haven't seen that video, go and check it. It's the resetting vehicle, reset the car when you pull up. So when you stop, you go handbrake, neutral, signal. The reason why you want to get into that routine is because you don't want to be pulling off in the wrong gear. When the student pulls up on a massive hill, because you are going to be checked on your test for a hill start, an angle start, which is when you come up from behind a car, and a busy start, which is when you stop on a really busy road, yeah, and then you try and pull off into traffic at the safe time. But on the hill, when he asks you to pull up on a hill, if you're a student that's nervous about that, the same thing is going to happen with the gears unless you reset the car. So it's common for a student to be like, oh my God, it's the hill start. And they go mirror signal and they park on the left and they leave it in third. My God, it's so common, right? And the student stops in third. I'm on a mock test with some of my students at this stage and they don't reset the car. And I can see that we're in third and I'm thinking, this is going to be an absolute disaster, because the likelihood of us rolling is so much higher, right? So they're going to stall and then they're just going to roll backwards. They might not, they may be able to save it with the foot brake, but we're going to repeatedly stall until they realise, yeah, that they're in third. Yeah, the point is, check your gear. If you stall, whatever you do, check your gear. Try really hard to do things like to help you. So things to help you: when you pull up on the left, reset the car, handbrake, neutral, signal. When you're coming up to a roundabout, put it into the category of open and closed, because if you're thinking like that, you're going to be thinking about your gears, yeah? If the roundabout is closed and you can't see anything because of bushes and fences and stuff, you're going to be like, that's closed, I need first gear on approach. Or if you think to yourself, this roundabout is open, you're more likely to enter second on approach with your thoughts in your gears, yeah? And then it's more likely that you're going to be thinking about gears, and if you stop, you're more likely to go to first as well. All right, guys? So I hope this really helps you, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.